Calvin saying it's impossible to live and be left alone here. Impossible. That's also your story and what you're manifesting. Like, I know what you mean. I notice, like, I'm working on myself, and every day, like, all these little things, like, I get better. I get better at confronting things, not getting triggered, or let's say, less entities, less being messed with, and I, like, literally have weeks of chill, nice time. Let's say 2 to 3 weeks, max, where I can live like, hey, life is awesome. And then after 3 weeks or 2 weeks, there's gonna be one day that's gonna be like an explosion full of triggers and whatever. Like, they have to literally do tons of things to trigger me and get me to that sort of triggered place where I'm more targeted, where I'm not left alone. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks. Gotta deal with that. So again, confronting myself. Like, what is it that gets me triggered? What gets me to react to all those things? And then again. Kelvin, yeah, I get you. Like, please, we're not doing this to ourselves. That is silly. It really depends on how much confront and responsibility you want to take. It's easy to play the victim. I'm being fucked with. Everyone else, like the Greys, reptilians, it's their fault. They're attacking me. They planted me here. It's all their fucking fault. It's not me. I'm fucking innocent, and I'm never coming back here. Fine. Great. But you have to explore consciousness. You have to explore more than that. Okay, what did you do before coming here? Did you make any decisions? Why did you come here? And you zoom back in your whole existence, your origins, before 3D, before 4D, 5D or whatever, for billions of years and billions of lifetimes, and you see that you're creating everything. The planets, the destruction, like boom, you create, you destroy, create, destroy. The whole race, it's all you. And as consciousness, you're playing the game and one thing is not enough. So you split yourself into aspects and start having more beings to play around. Eventually, from my perspective, I am you, you're me, everyone here watching my stream, it's all me. All these bad things happen in my life, my creation, my responsibility. But how far do I want to go with that? Consciousness, and how deep the shit goes, is fucking deep and really hard to put in words and hard to understand. Like, it's a mindfuck. I do some sessions for people, or on myself, and it's going deep, or I do the past life recall where they go deep within themselves, and they find out the stuff they did. It's like, holy cow. And all of these things I see, for me it's like one dot, or one piece of puzzle in this massive picture. I don't have everything connected. I don't have the full story. I can't explain everything yet. I'm like, well, here's how I see this part, and this part, and this part, but there's billions of pieces that needs to go together for the full picture. But for now, I talk about this and this and this, and that's how I assume things are together, but I don't have the whole thing yet. I'm still exploring. To go with, no. It's not me, it's their fault, I'm the victim, I don't have control over all of this. If that works for you, great. I saw different things of what I've done, and recalling of splitting consciousness and me being tons of aspects is like if you have heard of the Anunnakis, Anu, Marduk, and Lil or Enki and stuff, where they have, let's say, one body, but then they can have one consciousness in 1,000 bodies. It's possible. You can have that. You can be all of these players all at once. And it's like, it's freaking crazy. It is freaking crazy with how you can see that. It's like literally, you might have seen some movies or, I don't know, something on the internet, where you're in this, I don't know, CCTV room, and you're watching all these cameras over the world, and you can access, okay, let's watch America, and you tune into LA, and all of the places in LA, and like, let's say, every camera you have in LA is your part of consciousness. You're viewing all of these aspects. But that's just LA. Let's do San Francisco. Let's do the whole, let's say, California, and then every single state in America, and then the whole world. We have trillions of cameras, trillions of perspectives, and it's all one being creating it all. And that is like freaking amazing and crazy, and it's like really hard to confront. Like some people, I know, like Unplug the Matrix and others have had the experience of, let's say, they get out of body, and then they can split their consciousness and view from like tons of points of views. And it's amazing. But we can all do this. And it really goes into how deep do you want to go? For me, it's like, hey, I've seen the shit I can do. I've seen the parts that I have been, or that I am. Like, hey, Akvila has a human body. Akvila is also reptilian, and some other parts, like, oh, that's interesting. So, it's all exploration. Like, I'm still exploring. I'm still finding how it all works. Kelvin's saying, she's just a script, like a bot repeating the same New Age stuff from decades ago. Peace out, all. Hope you all eventually get out of the soul trap, and Loosh is powerful, Loosh is powerful, this soul trap, lol. Loosh is what is extracted from our immortal spirits and is used to power and keep you in the soul trap. It was coined by Robert Monroe. She is dead wrong on this. And why is she twisting Loosh and making is the opposite of what the inventor was coined in terms about? Asumsky, I am so glad you really don't like what I say. Let's go. Let's go see this. Censuring glossary. Alright? Etymology. Robert Monroe, in his book Far Journeys, writes of contact he had with a light being in an out-of-body experience. Monroe is arguably the world's foremost researcher in out-of-body experiences. He started an institute with trainee researchers to scientifically investigate the phenomenon. Reportedly, the light being told Monroe that when humans die, their energy is released and harvested by transdimensional beings, who use it to extend their own lifespans. The claim is that the universe is a garden created by these beings at their food source. Alright. According to Monroe's story, animals are intentionally positioned on this planet to feed on plants and on each other, thereby releasing the life force of the victims so it can be harvested. In a predatory-prey struggle, exceptional energy is produced in the combatants. The spilling of blood in fight to the death conflict releases this intense energy, which the light beings call Loosh. Loosh is also harvested from the loneliness of animals and humans, as well as from the emotions engendered when a parent is forced to defend the life of its young. Another source of Loosh is humans' worship. According to Monroe's informant, our creators, the cosmic energy farmers, intentionally equipped animals with the devices like fangs, claws, and super speed in order to prolong the predator-prey combat and thereby produce more Loosh. In other words, the greater the suffering, the more life force is spewed from our bodies and the tastier the energy meal for our creators. This story told to Monroe, which threw him into a 2-week depression, corresponds to reports in some of the world's oldest scriptures. The Vedas, whatever that is, and Upanishads, the Purans of India. We read that the universe is upheld by sacrifice, and that all who are living in this world are the sacrificers. There is none living who does not perform the sacrifice. This body is created for sacrifice and arises out of sacrifice and changes according to sacrifice. The part I really like is that in other words, the greater the suffering, the more life is spewed from our bodies. But a thing to remember is that we don't have to die to give off this energy. Every single thing that triggers us, every single thing that you react on with that negative energy that is a bit more, like, it's fine if you can get angry and, like, direct it somewhere. But if you're really being messed with, and you go nuts with, like, damn it, I can't go, you're, like, out of control. If you're, like, really sad and depressed and, like, feeling like shit and you have all those things happening, your energy is being taken. So when you're saying I'm twisting the words of Monroe and the creator and everything else and I'm just making shit up and I'm a bot and everything else, great. But I look at, the definitions, like Carlos Castaneda as well, like Loosh. If you would have the visuals, if you could see not only the physical, my body, my stream, or anything around you, but if you would have the spiritual side, if you could see the energy, if you could see the entities like some people, besides me, if you could see that stuff, every day of our lives, every single trigger is like our energy is being harvested. It is being taken. It is visible. You can look at the aura readers and everything else and like ask for a reading when you're like, okay, well, this is like what your aura looks like. Let's look at how you are when you are fucking triggered and what changes in your body. How you fucking change. And with all that to say that like, oh yeah, it's just like the new age shit and like it's just the soul trap or whatever, like fuck you, man. Like I'm doing the research and I'm seeing the stuff every day. Calvin Morrison's like, explain then how to manifest to be left alone in simple steps. Well, first, okay, well, what do you mean by being left alone? Like, okay, well, are you targeted and are you being messed with? Then in what ways? How are you, Mr. Calvin, being messed with? Do you get hurt? I'm sorry. Everybody does. And like, if I look at myself, okay, I think I'm being messed with. How does that happen? Well, I get out, I talk to people, they say stuff, and it hurts me. So I get hurt by what they say. So it's me being reactive and just expecting someone of people. Like, I expect them to be this way, and then they don't fit my expectations and I get hurt. Ooh, well, shit. Like, I don't want them to change. How can I change? How can I be better? Like, I can't change everyone here. So how can I be the best part of myself while not limiting others or myself? How can I, like, stop cutting myself off and everything else? If I'm triggered by my clients writing to me, and we're gonna have a session, and then we connect, and then interference on the internet, and all of a sudden we can't connect, and it's like, oh fuck, an hour wasted, I have to reschedule, and everything else. It happens a lot. But it used to, like, really, let's say, piss me off. It would be a thing, like, oh my god, rescheduling, getting to a client, and then a whole hour trying to connect back and forth, and it's not working, and I have to take on another. So an hour wasted, well, all the things I could have done that time and all the stuff, like, all these reactions, the more I would react on the things that trigger me. It's like, okay, well, how can I deal with that? Well, one, don't get pissed off. Like, oh, okay, next time it happens, I'm trying to connect to client, we're gonna do the session, boom, interferences. And I'm like, okay, here it is, one of those things again. Now I'm expecting it. Now I know what's going on. It's not just something's wrong. No, like, I'm being targeted. I reacted this thing. If I stop reacting into like, yeah, we're just gonna reschedule, it's all fine, no worries, an hour wasted, it's no longer wasted. I've been trying to connect, and I've been looking at all the ways they're trying to trigger me, boom, and all of a sudden, there's no more reaction. No more interferences as well, because I stopped reacting to a problem. So, it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna move on, do a different thing. And all of the things that happen to you in life, you look at, how are you triggered? How are you being messed with? Can you identify that? And if you can, then, okay, look at how can you deal with it. Okay, you just got like, okay, you love animals. You really care about them. And then you're driving your car and you run one over them. And damn it, like, it really like fucks up your values. You just got to forgive yourself. Like, hey, you know, like, was it really just a little incident, or did someone really like knew what can hurt you? Like, all of these situations in life, you're like a rock. No one can get through you. But that little incident really messed you up. And like, okay, well, what if it wasn't just the incident? What if it was like trying to mess with you and see how would you react? And it starts, like, if you react to it, it starts happening to you more. So if you're like a freaking victim that has, I don't know, like, yeah, that's not the right way to talk about it, but if you have no awareness of how you're being messed with, then there's a lot to do with getting better. You just have to be aware that you're being messed with. See how, and then look at all of these things to get better. Like, all these steps and simple steps, then how to manifest to be left alone in simple steps. List out every single way you're being targeted. How do you react to it? How you get triggered? Every single thing. If you're not doing that, don't expect to get better. Don't expect all of these issues to stop. I know, just like, hey, I have fucking NPC in my house. They really attack me and yell at me and all this stuff. I found what stopped them. Hey, like, they target my dog. They don't like the dog being in the elevator. Cool, I found a law that allows the dog in the elevator. I'm good. No longer. I haven't seen the lady in months. Good for me. I win. And all of these little things, if I don't react, if I look at, that's how they trigger me. That little part. I need to work on that. I need to work on myself. And how am I going to react to things? All of these little things, it's like, it's always work. But I'm literally have months or weeks without being attacked. If it's any attack, like any attempt, it's so small I don't even notice it in my life. It's meaningless. It's me though. It's me.